I was walking down this street in Berlin, a street called Friedrichstrasse. I was 28 years old, and I didn't speak the language, German, at the time. And I had just decided to move to this country where I had no contacts, no real friends. But I was ambitious and I was confident, and I wanted to expand my business globally because I saw that as an opportunity for my own personal business goals. I'm showing you this because for those markets that you're interested in entering, you may need to develop this for that particular country. So what are the top 3, top 4, top 5 key cultural variables that you want to consider when you're entering that market, particularly as it pertains to the customer base there?
Melissa gave some very useful insights. And one thing I will say is, global expansion, can be challenging. So to be able to navigate the labyrinth of issues across cultures, whether it's in the Middle East, whether it's in Europe, Asia, or Latin America, got some useful tips and some useful insights on how to actually do that successfully.
If we apply what we do at home abroad, it may not necessarily work, and we may need to do some really good retooling to ensure that we're able to be successful in whatever market that we're trying to enter.
Melissa was quite right in saying that what might work in Europe will not necessarily work in other markets. Cultures are too different, expectations are quite often different, and you really need to immerse yourself in that market and really find out what the customer wants.
Don't reinvent the wheel. I see a lot of companies go into new markets just cold, without asking other people, what has been your experience? What were your challenges? What were your successes? But you have other companies who have most likely tried what you're about to try, so go and talk to them about it. Leverage that knowledge and experience, even if they're competitors. And so when you're thinking about expanding globally, just think about asking the questions that are a little bit more in detail. So what kinds of markets make sense for us? What's a reasonable level of risk and reward for us? And who has been successful, and what do I need to learn? Do your due diligence and market research. Travel to the location that you want to expand to. Be willing to also think outside the box. SAP had their most successful sales event in the Middle East to date, and they were completely surprised by that because they had assumed that they would actually lose money on that sales event because they knew that in the Middle East the systems weren't necessarily up to standard to be able to use their newest software. So they decided they would hold this event just to kind of show that they were, wanted to be in the Middle East and that they would like to be seen as a global company, etc. And so they went there and they held this big sales event and they made a big splash and they had lots of people come. And what was interesting about it is that they just started buying software like crazy that they couldn't actually use. So all these customers out of the Middle East were just buying it as aspirational products. And they thought, well, someday we'll upgrade our systems to be able to use this software. It's kind of like buying a Ferrari when you don't have a driver's license and don't know how to drive, but you just park it in your driveway to make it look cool. They were completely surprised at how much money they could make off of that. And so I just share that story with you to say, you never know what could be the situation in a particular environment and how you could be successful, and it might be different from what you expect.